Welcome to Beyond the Breach. Today's episode is about something that, in my view, sits quietly at the centre of almost every major cyber attack. It's not malware, it's not ransomware, it's not even the attackers themselves. It's assumptions. Across almost every breach that I've been party to, one pattern repeats. Controls were in place, tools were deployed, policies existed, and yet failure still occurred. So I suppose the obvious question is why? Well, I think it's because organisations don't actually fail due to a lack of security design in most cases. They fail because they assume that that design will behave as expected under pressure, under uncertainty, through chaos. In other words, in real-world conditions. And that assumption is almost always entirely wrong. Let's make this tangible. In incident after incident, what you see is not a complete breakdown of security all at once. It's something a little more subtle than that. It's a chain of small failures, an identity system that doesn't revoke access fast enough, a backup system that exists but hasn't been tested for a while or tested at scale, a detection alert that fires but isn't prioritised correctly, a recovery plan that works on paper but not under pressure. Individually, none of these are catastrophic, but together they create gaps. And attackers, they don't break systems necessarily, they find gaps. Real cyber incidents don't test whether controls exist. In most cases, they do. But they do test whether those controls hold under stress, under ambiguity, under time pressure, in chaos. And that's a completely different kind of test. And most organisations have never run it. Let's take identity as a quick example. Many organisations assume if a user leaves, access is removed. But in reality, we see every day there are orphaned accounts. There are privileged credentials that persist after people leave the company. There are service accounts that nobody fully owns. And during an incident, those become the entry points for the attackers. Not because identity systems weren't implemented, but largely because an assumption was made that those systems are complete and up to date. And most importantly, that those systems could be restored under pressure. This is where the most dangerous of all assumptions in IT shows up, in my view. We'll figure it out when the incident happens. You won't, because in a real incident, you don't have full visibility. You don't have perfect data. And you don't have time. What you have instead is partial information, conflicting signals, challenges in culture, and a rapidly escalating situation. And that is not the moment to validate your assumptions. That's the moment where assumptions are going to be exposed. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Most organisations, they're measuring the wrong things, even if they are testing. They're measuring control coverage. They're measuring tool deployment, policy compliance. But attackers don't care about any of that. What really matters is operational resilience. Can you detect fast enough? Can you contain effectively? Can you recover cleanly? And can you do it all without collapsing the business? That's a very different metric to the ones that we tend to measure. And this is why I believe the industry needs to shift from a mindset of security design to a mindset of resilience engineering, or ResOps. Because design assumes success. Resilience assumes failure. And it plans for it. So what should you actually take away from this week's episode? Well, I think three things. Number one, security design should be based on failure, not success. Don't ask, does this control work? Ask, how does it fail? And more importantly, what happens when it does? Because it will. Number two, assumptions are the hidden vulnerabilities in every single architecture. They're not documented, they're not tested, and they're rarely challenged. But they're always there. And attackers are very, very good at finding them faster than you. Number three, resilience comes from testing reality, testing in chaos, not trusting design. That means running recovery simulations. That means stress testing identity processes. That means validating what clean actually means in your environment. And it means measuring how long it really takes to restore clean operations, not in theory, but in practice. Because in cyber resilience, confidence is often built on assumptions. In real resilience, in my view, that's built on evidence. And if you can take one thing away from today, it would be this. Your biggest risk isn't what you know is broken. It's what you assume is working. That's the clarity for today. Beyond the breach.